Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome in for another episode of Spirit Speakeasy. I am so excited to share today's guest. Have you ever heard of something called a seed thought? Well, it is the root of maybe everything going on in our physical bodies, in our lives, in all the areas of our lives, and how things manifest or don't manifest in a positive or a challenging way, from everything to physical illnesses, challenges, or growth in our abundance, our relationships, every area of our life, really. So today's guest is Medical Intuitive Kim Seer. She's been on the pod before and is an incredibly powerful healer. I am really not going to take much time in this intro because I want to get right into this conversation. She so generously dives into this powerful healing tool of seed thoughts. And spoiler alert, she's doing a free workshop that we're going to talk about towards the end of the conversation. So make sure you hang around for that. And for those of you that watch on the video version and notice my eyes are looking a little crazy today, a little different, I'm going to talk about it in the outro, in the post-show little outro that we do. So hang on for that if you want more details about me. Without further ado, let's get right into it with my colleague and friend, amazing medical intuitive, Kim Seer. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome in for another episode of Spirit Speakeasy. My guest today is a second timer here in the pod, which you guys know is very rare. I'm going to do a quick intro and then dive right in because we've already learned all about her. So we're going to dive into some deep topics today. Our guest is Kim Seer. She is a medical intuitive, master healer, communicologist, and community leader for over 25 years. Kim comes from a family of healers and seers. The calling has been passed down through the family line for generations. Kim's worked with many professionals, from scientists, a vast array of doctors, specialists who treat diseases, illnesses, specialty clinics, pain clinics, police departments, and has been in TV, radio, and print. Kim's traveled the world teaching, lecturing, and working online with clients. And now she is here with us today inside Spirit Speakeasy. Welcome in, Kim Seer.
Thank you. Whoop, whoop.
Woohoo.
Two-timer.
I know. We don't have a lot of guests that
I know. Yeah,
we
I know.
need to dive in twice with, which is really exciting. Will you just quickly go into your gifts with us a little bit, kind of how you are able to see illness in the body as a medical medium, how that works for you, like within your own gifts?
Sure. So, like many of us do, I thought I was fairly normal. I didn't know that people didn't see people who had already passed, because to me it looks like everybody else on the street. So, and I also, when you're born with gifts, you just assume that that's how everybody else is as well.
Yeah.
And so when I recognized that I could see into the body, I was 6 years old. There was somebody coming in through the kitchen that my mom was talking to, a gentleman, and he had a cancer. I didn't know that. I was 6. I'm just walking through the kitchen. And as I'm walking through, I pointed out and I said, "Hey, what is that? Like, what is that?" And my mom's like, what is what?" Right? So, so at that point in time, I recognized that she didn't see what I saw, and he didn't see what I saw.
Yeah.
I assumed that everybody saw what was happening in their bodies, because in my world, why wouldn't you, right? So I can literally watch organs working. I can watch blood flowing, nerves. They flow. They move at like 200 miles an hour. So I can't directly connect those, follow those, but I absolutely can follow back that through them really closely to identify what is happening, what is not. And then the body has always talked to me, everybody's body. Never ask it to, it just does. And over the course of time, you learn to um, be able to monitor that, because certainly I don't need all of that information,
Yeah,
nor
that'd
is
be
it
a lot.
appropriate. Yeah. So, but not only does of all the different ways that my gifts come through, people will always say to me, "Gosh, I want to see just like you."
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, of all my gifts, the one that I trust the least is what I physically see with my eyes.
Interesting.
And the reason being is that, the center field vision of any of our eyes is actually black. And we see from the periphery, and then that sends information to the brain, and the brain fills in what you're seeing, which is why a magician oftentimes will come and stand right in front of you because that's your central field vision. So if I couldn't back up what I see with the really deep knowingness that I have, along with hearing from their body, their guides, pretty much all the different angles that
Yeah.
communication can come, I probably wouldn't say a thing. But, throughout the whole course of my life, we've had some really incredible things happen. And to which I say, may with all the way the gifts come through, number one, may we never cease to be utterly amazed at what's possible.
Yeah.
And what's kept me spending the majority of my adult life traveling around the world and teaching people. The only reason I've done that is because I know for a fact that there is nothing that any one of us can do that the rest of us can't.
Right.
And um, so, yeah,
And that's
it's
such
a
a
good
cool
thing.
way of looking at it because I believe similarly that, maybe our gifts manifest in different ways but we all have the ability to play. We all have the
Sure,
ability to participate and sometimes even strengthen those areas where maybe we don't feel as strong
sure.
or balance things out in our gifts. Like you said, it's not just that physical side or psychic side, it's the blend of the gifts together.
Hmm.
And I highly encourage anyone who wants to hear your whole story of how you went from being 6 years old through your journey of life to becoming this incredible practitioner. That was episode 71.
Yes.
Medical Intuitive Kim Seer sharing her secrets with you. I'll link it in the show notes if you guys want to. It's an incredible story and you give so many specific shares in there. But today we decided we wanted to talk about sort of what we're bridging into now, which is yes, you have these very specific gifts as a medical intuitive, as a seer in your own work, but you have devised a really incredible system through the way that you understand, I want to say, like the root of any issue that's manifesting in the body. Can
You
we
bet.
talk about seed thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. So, there are plenty of times, whether it's something minor or something major, where we feel as though maybe we were sick and we thought we finally got over it, or, there was a trauma that you had and you thought, okay, I'm done with that. And, you're moving on along your life. Next thing you know, here it comes again. Here it comes physically again. Here it comes emotionally again. Here comes the fear again. And so, you wonder, gosh, I thought I already dealt with that. Like, what
Yeah.
is this? So I really think of seed thoughts. So to me, absolutely everything that happens in life has a seed thought. That is the point of creation. And when we are working through so many different ways, whether it's healing, whether it's, they've had a surgery, no matter what that is, um, if we don't inevitably resolve the seed thought, then there is always the potential that that can come back. It can either recreate or it will exacerbate someplace else in the body or through the emotions. And so I very much think of seed thoughts as like having a dandelion in the lawn. Dandelions they're hardy. They are
Yeah.
hardy. Now, you can, see a dandelion in the lawn, you go pick it out of the grass, you're like, yes, I've got it. But they are hardy. if you
Yeah.
do not get those out, roots and all, not only will they grow back, but it will multiply. And the next thing you know, you have a lawn full of dandelions. Well,
Yeah.
not so dissimilarly, there are so many emotions, there are so many fears, there are so many physical things that are manifesting. One seed thought is actually manifesting in 4 or 5 different places in your body.
Okay.
And you don't know of what that is. And so when you can get a hold of the seed thought and you can eliminate it, going back to the dandelion in the lawn,
Yeah.
the work we do, what it does is it creates a reverse growth process. So it literally starts retracting from everything. Let's say one seed thought is in 10 different places in your body. What will occur is that that will all start retracting from every single place that it was,
Yeah.
every place in your field, every place in all the different emotions and fears. Everything will retract until it's down to one seed. And then the one seed that originally started, we will get a hold of that seed and we will extract it. And if you extract a seed from the grass or from the soil, would the soil ever even know that that seed was there if there was nothing left? It would not have even known that that seed existed. And so similarly, we can have some incredible things happen when we get all those seed thoughts.
Yeah, so there's so much to unpack here. I do have some organized questions. I don't know if everything I want to ask you is it's probably in those questions, but I'm sure it's going to come out
It's
another
all
way.
good.
So as you're saying it, I see a lot in pictures in my mind as well. And I see that little seed, and you and I have talked about this before, and I've heard you speak about this before. So there's that little seed in the ground, and then that's that first thought, that first thing that happens, that trauma, whatever it might be. And then it takes roots, and you can imagine those roots growing in the dirt, and they're spreading out in the different directions, and then those roots are taking hold and making, different sprigs or different little whatever twigs that are poking up out of the ground to start to bloom eventually. And you can see how it can really overpower the lawn of our body, right? I'm
Absolutely.
always talking about the garden of our life and the garden of our body. But what I hear you saying is that this one seed thought could be in some of those roots stretching out into our personal relationships, in other of those
Absolutely.
roots stretching out into our mental health, into our physical well-being, into our money, into our different areas. That's true? Is that
Oh
am I
yeah.
understanding that?
This one seed can wreak havoc. And the two biggest things that will draw a person, create fear in a person, is mess with their health or mess with their money. And interestingly enough, there are so many seed thoughts that just the seed thought alone can really come in and create doubt and interruption, and it slows things down. You're trying to get things done, it slows things down, it creates chaos. It can show up in a number of ways, and one seed thought is not only in one place in the body. How does disease and illness actually start? Most people think that by the time that you physically are sick, that that's the beginning.
Right.
No,
This is on my
it's not.
list.
That's the end of it.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. The beginning started way back there. And that seed thought is now, spread like, those little what do they call them in the spring? They're the white wispy things that have the seeds that
Like
float
they're the
through
things
the
that come
air.
off the dandelions
Yeah,
and stuff.
there you go. So
That's
there
what
you
it
are.
is. Yeah.
There you are. It is proliferating everywhere. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you
oh yeah,
pluck it and you make the little wish, but that's a dandelion and it's going to be a lot more. So, one of the many interesting things is, I mean, I've heard versions of this for many years, even in Louise Hay's work, where it's there's, of course, the body keeps the score is not hers, but then she's got her You Can Heal Your Life, where,
sure.
hypothetically, or for example, in her work, Grief is, if you have an ailment of the lungs, it means that there's a tie back to the emotion of grief. If you have an issue in the knees, it's a tie back to inflexibility. So there's that book where you can kind of look up any number of ailments or conditions or illnesses, injuries, and see what area or what emotion that could tie back to. This to me feels not contrary to that, but it feels like a doubling down or an expansion of that. Is that how you see these
Yes.
things intertwining?
Yes, indeed. Louise Hay and so many books like hers really helped the public finally have a language to what they had a sense was happening in the first place.
Yeah.
It validated that it was happening and it gave a proper language to it. And they were spot on. The only challenge with it is, all right, so now you're aware that, if you have a hip issue, that hips represent a major support system in your life changing or being unsettled, things like that. Okay, so now you know that. Awesome, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Knowing it alone does not I feel better here. I do not feel better here. So
Yeah.
so it's like, all right, we stopped a little too soon.
Right.
Now
This
what
is
do you
my
do with
challenge in this work.
that?
Well, a lot of people don't realize also I was a body worker for many years and I worked with so many clients. And I can tell you that I've had people on my table for many years over the course of their lives and would see the same issue that they had done every Western medical treatment. They had done acupuncture and they had done everything except therapy, or probably more of the seed thought work that they needed to do. And I love that this just really is a different way into the work. Do you know what I mean?
You
That
bet.
doesn't step on the toes of any other treatments. And it really is, maybe for many people who, like I was, a frustrated practitioner, not being able to get the results. And, if someone
Right.
sees you once a week for 2 hours at a time for an 8-year period and you can't make them any, much more improved, they feel an improvement, of course, in their day to day. But I was always looking for that something else to kind of help me help my people more. And I feel
Absolutely.
like I hear this from acupuncturists and therapists and body workers of all kinds and nurse practitioners and all kinds of people that just wish they had that extra place to look, that extra closet to search in when none of the traditional answers that they have are working. And I really feel like this is that thing.
It really is. And I always say that we every single one of us, we get into the work we get into because of the compassion that we have and the heart we have to really help. And if there is anything that we can do to help resolve something, when everything we've done, we've known how to do, we've done, and we've made progress, there's no
Right.
doubt. I really believe that there's not any one thing that is the magical pill. I really believe that everything really works together beautifully.
Yeah.
And it's important to have all of these, but the tools in regards to the seed thoughts and being able to finally not only root out one issue from one place, but the next thing you know, three other things that you may not have even known about also start to resolve,
Right.
because that same seed thought was over here and it was over here and
Yeah.
it was over here. Um, the, in your client's eyes, you look like this awesome person. You are my hero. And humbly we say thank you to that. But what we know to be true is it's really about where the work goes to and how effectively it
Yeah.
can get into our database and clear it out from that very beginning point.
Well, and I love what you said, that oftentimes the seed thought is planted way before the thing manifests in any area of our life. You
Absolutely.
teach that illness and pain and emotional imbalance are rooted in the energy of us long before they show up in the body. So, is our body giving us signs along the way that we can kind of have as a flag, a red flag of like, okay, I thought something at some point that's problematic.
Yes, that's a really good point because the fact of the matter is the body does talk to you. It talks to everyone all the time, but
Yeah.
we've never learned to understand its language. And when you start to understand its language, then you start to recognize, oh my, you told me about this 6 years ago. I I got what you were saying, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know
Mm,
what to do with it. You know, so many amazing practitioners get information, whether it's they see it in their mind's eye, they're hearing it through guidance, their knowingness, however that comes, they get this incredible information, but then they don't know what to do with it
right.
because it doesn't fit into the format that they know.
Yeah.
And it's so important that the moment that we can know more and know better, that we take that opportunity
Right.
and say, what can we do from here? Like,
Yeah. Do you have an example that can help kind of just people really expand their mind into maybe with a client you work with or someone that you've known
sure,
where they started to have signs and symptoms or something bubbling up in an area of their life and then connected back to, okay, that's what this is?
sure. So my very best friend, um, many years ago, it's probably 4, maybe 5, so not that long ago, but 4 or 5 years ago, out of the blue, had a heart attack.
Wow.
And um, and I find out, and after I know that she's okay, I hit her. What?
Right
What?
side the
You
head.
gotta know better, right? I mean, we know that we know better. We know these things, but
Yeah.
so obviously I didn't hit her, but I said, so let's go back. Let's go back and talk about nothing ever happens without you having a sense that something's not right.
Mm,
I'm starting, and for her, we could go back and actually start to see that she started having different gastric things out of the blue. Number one, start paying attention for things that just start happening that are unlike anything that has happened. If it doesn't
right.
have a pattern that's normal, start paying attention to it. Also, if you start losing weight, and most people, if we just start losing weight randomly, most people are like, happy day. Well, okay, that is a happy day. However, the body does not just lose weight for no reason.
Right.
you know you don't start having sharp pains or something that starts nagging on you when you're doing a certain activity or at a certain time in your day, or so you're looking for things that are out of the ordinary. And so,
Yeah.
because there's at no point in time does anything just come out of the blue. That is really unheard of. We just, if we, and let's be really clear too, it's a really busy life that
Yeah.
we
That's the
have.
truth.
And most of the time it's everything that we can do to try to pay attention to what's just going on in front of us here.
Right.
That unless, it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
Yeah.
and we're so busy putting out fires over here and there and here and there and every which way but loose, that by the time we actually pay attention to what our body's been saying, we're too tired to do anything about it.
That's a great point because I mean, I know when my work was different, I sit a lot now, but there were definitely times where leading up to a major illness event that I was like tired and just dismissed it. I was like, well, when am I not just tired? And when am
Exactly.
I not just like uncomfortable, achy in my body? And I did lose a bunch of weight, but I had been trying. It just hadn't been
Sure.
working. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it's my miracle has happened. It is upon me. I am. So it was just a number of things that because I'm very much a patterns girl. I'm looking for patterns,
Sure.
correlations, right? And if I could
Absolutely.
correlate it down to something, then sometimes it makes it more easy to dismiss, is the truth. Because who now it's different because my kids are grown up, but who that is a single parent of young kids and
Absolutely.
working has a week where they don't feel tired or they are getting the appropriate number of hours of sleep or self-care. Like, it's just not a thing. So
Right.
it's a great point. And now what I do that's a little different is if I do have something that's, like you said, out of the blue, like this thing that's happening right now with I'm going to address it in the intro or outro, and my little eyes are swollen. But I make a note of it in my calendar.
You
I,
bet.
I do digital calendaring to keep my schedule, and I make a note of it because, like you said, we're busy. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to remember when it was. I'm not going to remember where it is in the cycle of, everything, the month, the
Absolutely.
season, I think this is because I ate something, but is it because you ate something? Is it,
Right. Right.
or is it something that is a spreading, growing roots of a seed thought? And how do we
Right.
tell the difference?
Yeah. Absolutely. It is really good. It's very good to be able to keep track. And I'll say, even if if you're someone who does do a meditation or at least takes, 2 to 5 minutes of quiet time in the morning, I would say do it in the evening before you go to bed. But then likely what happens is you start, instead of meditating, you're sleepitating. I'm going on, you know.
Yes.
So, but take just a moment in and take a moment and just pay attention from head to toe and just in your mind, just say to your body, body, how are you doing? Is there anything that you need me to know?
Yeah.
And if something comes into your mind, don't doubt it. Write it down, even if you say, well, I don't have any idea what this is, but okay, I wrote it
Yeah.
down, because inevitably all that information comes together. And yeah, it's just a good
Could be
way. And
important.
truly, the moment your body knows you're going to talk to it, it will become gabby. It will tell you all kinds of things.
Well, and I
And
would say not
that's a
even
good
in
thing.
that meditation moment, but even later throughout the day. For me, it's
You
usually
bet.
when I'm doing something really mundane. It used to be folding sheets. Now it's dishes, and those little things will just pop in,
Hmm.
so even if it maybe is not during that little 2 or 3 minute check-in, anytime something's
You bet.
bubbling up, just take a notice.
Yeah, you bet.
So you also teach that unhealed trauma or past hurts, past and present, I guess, creates patterns that can keep people stuck, as we know,
Oh, yeah.
no matter what they've done to get better. Is the seed thought theory or work? I don't even know. Stacked.
It's okay.
Is the seed thought idea true even if someone has done like a lot of therapy and really like unpacked their trauma and
Sure.
has done a lot of work on this? And how is it still in there if they feel like they've really tried to excavate their lives, personal
Sure.
development, all the things?
Yeah, what a great question. So the answer is, we can do, we can deep dive into everything we know how to do. And there very well may be absolutely nothing less left, right? But um, the problem with seed thoughts is that they can hide, and then they'll start pushing something else to the surface and aggravating something else, where what's really driving it is the seed thought. So it
Hmm.
just pushes it up to the front, right? And so when you know about seed thoughts, it's a beautiful thing because you can take that in your every single day. You don't need to, do healings with it all the time, but you can take that very information
Yeah.
And you can sort things so quickly. Is there anything to this? Is there anything left of this trauma?
Okay.
Is there a seed thought here that I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
Um, because here's an example. There are plenty of times, well, let me just say, the- you know, if there was people who had control issues, and I'm not saying that anybody does, but if we
Hypothetically.
knew,
Yeah.
no, but control issues, it's oftentimes if somebody has control issues, and whether it's they're trying to control something outside of themselves or whether they're really micromanaging their own life,
Hmm.
it can really create a lot of problems. And we can go through all different types. Once we identify its control, then we can go through all kinds of things to make us stop being so controlling. The problem is the sheer act of control is a secondary to abandonment.
Mm.
So what's really being sparked when the control and that notion that I need to look around, what's going on is what got started, where's the abandonment really
Yeah.
got
So
itself
control's the
going.
symptom, not the.
Control is the symptom, it's
Okay.
not the seed thought.
Interesting. So
Mhm.
hypothetically, if someone did feel like maybe
you know
they knew someone or could see it in themselves and they
yeah.
realize, okay, so if control is the symptom, and is abandonment always the seed thought beneath control?
um
I mean, always is a strong word, but
well,
usually.
actually it is to the best that I have known my career. That's what it generally boils down to. Now you can
Okay.
have things, you know, we live in a multifaceted world. So you can have a lot of secondary things all hanging out in the same environment.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that, and so you can have a couple of seed thoughts, uh, that have been coming through the field for quite some time.
Right.
And all of a sudden they land on you, and they may not have hit your physical body yet, but they hit your energetic body. And now your emotions or your fears all of a sudden got rattled,
Okay.
and you're feeling insecure and you're not exactly sure why, or you're feeling really, almost angry for no apparent reason. But
Okay.
so yeah, when these things come through, yeah.
So it sounds like with that symptom of control, that always ties back to abandonment, but that might not be the only symptom of abandonment to trace back to
Correct.
that seed.
Oh yes. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so it's got lots of nasty little
It
symptoms
is.
like we would hear on an
Oh,
infomercial.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well,
Right.
there's not good enough, which
Yeah.
I, a couple of people may have. And then there's like unworthy. And
Right.
so the question always is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, actually, not good enough is a symptom of unworthy.
Right.
Um, so,
So
yes,
if each seed thought, if each core emotion or core seed thought has many different symptoms, it might present in one area of your life as control, and it might present in a different area of your life as, I don't know, something else, right?
absolutely.
Something different that you're,
Absolutely.
but we're not necessarily connecting those dots to realize, oh, this is from the same original seed.
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, and in the meanwhile,
And also,
in your relationships at work, all of a
okay.
sudden find things start bothering you, or your work seems to be, people are being critical, or something is happening at work,
Hmm.
and you don't there's nothing for you to automatically pin to say this and this and this are connected,
Right.
and yet they are. It's when you work and you remove seed thoughts. I've had so many clients. Here's an example. I had a client come. She had really injured her knee badly, and they wanted to do a knee replacement. She did not
Hmm.
want that, so she came to my office. I rebuild knees. It's no worries. So I'm rebuilding her knee. That's all that she wanted, right? Just repair the knee. I don't need to have a knee replacement. I don't want to go through surgery. So, but she
Quickly,
didn't. We didn't
while
really.
you're saying repair the knee, you mean in a psychic surgery sense, not you're no
Oh
scalpels
yeah, it's
involved.
repairing the knee is actually one of the science in the National Institute of Health
Hmm.
research projects that I was part of. So they would do an MRI on a person's knee before I did anything, and then I would rebuild the knee, and then they would do an MRI again right after I got done rebuilding the knee, or within 45 minutes after I got
Hmm.
done rebuilding the knee. And the two MRIs did not at all look the same. This has the meniscus is torn. You've got a little bit of tear in the ACL. The MCL looks stretched out. You have all of these problems. There's
Yeah,
arthritis here. The kneecap is cracked. This knee looks like there's not really any arthritis, maybe a little inflammation, but everything's back intact.
and after you've
Um,
gone in with your tools and your
yeah,
techniques and worked it.
absolutely.
And
Well, and
just not to derail your story, I just wanted to make that clear what was
no, but
happening to
no,
people.
that's true. That's so true. That's so true. But
You
here's the
say it
here,
so nonchalant, like,
oh, I do. I apologize. But
no, it's good.
here's the cool thing. That's not just something that I can do. I've taught people to rebuild knees for 25 years.
Yeah.
So it's something that everybody can do. We just never were told we could.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, sorry. So
so my
she's in your
Gail, so my
office.
Gail, she's here.
You're
I'm just
rebuilding the
rebuilding her
knee.
knee. Normally after I rebuild a knee, I'll let them go around for a week or two just to, if I need to add more cartilage or something somewhere, I'll let it settle in and take a look at it. So I did. She came back, and when she came back through the door, she said, "Guess what?" I said, "What?" She said, "Something amazing is happening." What? What has happened? What has happened? I said, "Your knee's better." She said, "Yes, yes, but that's not it." She said, "I have had an eating disorder for 10 years, and I have no idea what you did. But from the time that I left, I didn't see myself the same. When I looked at myself in the mirror, it's changed. It's changed." Now,
Mm,
I didn't do anything on an eating disorder. I'm just rebuilding the knee, but because I don't want you to ever re-injure that knee.
yeah.
I don't want you to fall, have an accident. I don't want you to do any of that. So if I remove the seed thought that caused the injury in the first place, then you likely are not going to re-injure that. Whatever that seed thought was, that obviously was the same seed thought that had created the eating disorder. Now, those do
Right.
not automatically go together. They
Right.
don't automatically. For her, it did. This is just an example of one seed thought can show up and create different things,
Right.
completely different. About 6 years later, from the time that I had done the knee rebuild, it was Christmas time, and I was in the mall, and my family, we were shopping, and I saw her, and she looked great. And, she said to me, to this day, I have still had no problem with any eating disorder.
Wow.
And it's,
Did you know
again,
that you were taking the seed thought out from whatever was happening with the knee itself, even though you didn't maybe know it connected to this?
whatever I'm working on, I will find whatever the seed thought is that created that. So yes, I worked using the quantum work that I do,
Yeah.
and I extracted that seed thought from out of her database.
Yeah.
So once that's gone, anything that it was linked to
Right.
also starts going away.
Wow.
So, I will always tell students less is more with this work, because sometimes you can do, one thing and have multiple things change,
Right.
because we have no idea how interconnected
That's so true.
thoughts are and fears are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
so interesting. So, is the seed thought true about any manifestation of illness in our body, or could someone just like get in a car accident or just crazy things happen? Does it always tie back to a seed thought in every instance, or is it only some of the time?
So, again, a very good question. So, in my understanding, there is no such thing as an accident. Um, no such thing as an accident. So, there is always a seed thought behind everything. Now, my my kids, when they were younger, they would say, I just have a cold. Can't I just have a cold? Does it really have to have something behind it? Um, well, even something as what might be simple as a cold,
Mhm.
um, it still can have a relating seed thought to it. Now, it
Okay.
doesn't mean that every single seed thought needs to be removed forever and ever and ever, amen. But what are the big ones? What are the
Right.
big ones that are really, you know, you know, you holding you down? And if you wanted to have a sense of, do I have any of those big seed thoughts in my life that might be influencing or creating a challenge for me? I would say ask yourself the following questions.
Okay.
Number one, do I keep trying to do everything that I know, the right way,
Right.
but I take, you know, 3 steps forward and 5 steps back. I take 2 steps forward and 6 steps back. I
Yeah.
take, do I just keep getting stalled? Do you feel as though literally something is holding you back? Because
Yeah.
inevitably, for big seed thoughts, you may be cranking through your life. You've done everything right. You've learned about yourself, you've done all the right things, you're really conscientious, you are moving forward and plowing ahead and doing great. And then, you know, it's like, bam, you just like hit the wall and you
Right.
bounce off going, what in God's name was that? What was
Yeah.
that? Um, Big seed thoughts oftentimes are things that will either physically stop you in your tracks, i.e., an accident,
Like a
some
big
major
illness.
disease or
Yeah.
illness that comes about. Sometimes
Your
massive
life, your
seed
whole life
thoughts,
blowing apart.
your life blowing apart, but some major seed thoughts may also come up and it completely fractures what once was a really steady relationship.
Mm,
And, perhaps it was time for both to grow in different ways, but, and it may not be the same seed thought for both people, that you don't
right.
share seed thoughts, but um, it's, you can key in and just, sit with that. Ask your
Yeah.
own, your own spirit, your own guidance.
It's also fascinating because even, if someone is displaying the behavior of like self-sabotage, that could tie down to one particular seed thought.
You
It
bet.
could be affecting many areas of their life. Even if the same symptom is self-sabotage, it might not look the same in their relationship as it does in their business, as it does in their personal wellness. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
this pesky work, ma'am.
I know it really is. It really is, because we would like it to be so simple that,
Yes, I
if
would.
X and Y are together, then it always equals this.
Right.
Well, that is not the case. You can have
No.
one seed thought and you're right. It is showing up in several different ways, and it is
Yeah.
influencing so many aspects of your life.
Well, because if our life and ourselves, right, our journey is a garden, let's just say, well, yeah,
Indeed.
it's being affected that you and I might have a same seed thought, and it's
Mhm.
being affected by our soil, our fertilizer, our what else are we growing? Are we weeding? Are we not? Are we so it's
Absolutely.
affected by everything else along our journey. So it might not manifest the same, right? Is that true?
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
So, are there any, just how you were saying that control always ties back to abandonment, are there any kind of like usual suspects, so to speak, common seed thoughts that correlate to specific issues or illnesses or challenges? Obviously, not always because it can be different, but are there some?
There are some diseases that have a fairly common, um, originally we would say it's a stereotype,
Hmm.
but it really does boil back to it is a stereotype, but the exact seed thought could be different for each person. But
Hmm.
you, breast cancer is one of the ones that um, breast cancer generally has. This is someone who really does for everyone. They are here, they are there, they are here, they are there, they are here, they're there. They're so doing out. And, if they have 5 minutes at the end of the day, they don't want to take it because they're going to feel guilty about it, right? Or if they do
Yeah.
take the 5 minutes, then they are going to make sure they feel guilty about it because I should have been doing something else. Um, that the basics of that is that stereotype is similar for a particular disease. Now, um, when we come to uh, different seed thoughts, one of the other seed thoughts really about, oh, I had it. I had it. Where did it go? All right.
I have a different
Let,
question then.
yeah, go ahead. Carry on.
I'm
Carry
sure
on.
I'm
I'm
sure it'll
I'm
come
sure it'll
back.
fly back around. Go ahead.
So, if there are these challenging seed thoughts that
Hmm.
tie into things that make symptoms that are maybe less comfortable or desired,
Right.
are there also positive seed thoughts? Like you do have a deep belief in your ability to succeed, or and can those kind of, this might be a really weird question, but can they kind of cancel
Can
out some
they?
of these
Exactly.
crappy ones? I'm looking for any workaround here.
You do have very positive seed thoughts, and positive seed thoughts have far more power overall than lower frequency seed thoughts.
Well, that's great
So,
news for
yes,
us.
you
Yeah.
do. Hooray for us.
Yes, that is
Um,
great news. I mean, still we got to weed our gardens,
we do,
obviously.
we do, we do. Any time that you are really um, focused on trying to do your best, there are always a multitude of seed thoughts that come in to surround you and put support. So it's not just
Right.
guidance and spirit, but literally in your energy field and in your body, there is much that can be done. There are some people, we'll go back to the person you ask a question about, let's say somebody who had trauma in their life, but they've done a ton of work around it.
Hmm.
Might they have a seed thought left? And this gives me a perfect example of, sometimes, you have found out and rooted out all of that nonsense.
Yeah.
And then if some random thing physically happens, uh, A, it's random and it's much more mild.
Okay.
So sometimes you can just be dealing with the last like residue of it if
Right.
something actually does physically show up, but it
Okay.
won't be what it likely would have been something that would have really knocked you off your feet, and
Right.
now it's just something that's annoying that lasts 3 days or so, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
so there are times that people come and they'll come to me for other things, and then they'll say, oh, by the way, I've had this little thing and I have no idea what it is. And I'll kind of key in and talk to their body about it. And their body's like, you know, in this area, the the body was really have there was a creation of a disease that was going on here,
Okay.
and the body has actually cellularly resolved itself.
Wow.
But we have just, a little bit here and a little bit there, and
Wow.
no worries.
Well, and I'm wondering along this train of thought if some of this is why, like, if our life is the manifestation of everything that's going on in the energy, which I believe, I think you do too,
Yes, indeed.
that could be potentially part of why maybe in one area things are cruising right along in a lovely way. And in another area, we're feeling like, what the heck is happening in
Exactly.
this area?
You are
So,
so right.
okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I love that
Absolutely.
you're so passionate about this work. And I know that we are just barely scratching the surface of seed thoughts, but
Indeed.
I also believe that everything is connected to everything. And I feel like this could be the thing that just gets us over that final hump of everything else we've done. And I, as well as you, when you're talking about breast cancer, I personally know 3 or 4 people just in the last couple of years that have passed away. There are things that if there could be just something else to try, wouldn't we? I definitely would. And I
Oh,
think this is
absolutely.
that thing.
Yeah,
You have a really exciting learning opportunity
I
just
do.
around the corner, like 10 days after this is
I do.
releasing. And will you please share about that
Yeah,
with us?
absolutely. So I have a free workshop
Yes.
I'm putting on. It's going to be just an hour an evening, and it's going to be September the 17th. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 Central, 5 Mountain. So it will go the 17th for an hour, the 18th for an hour, and the 19th for an hour. And then I'm launching my our program, this medical intuitive mastery. And because this is really about, let's just take you where you're at, whether you've got no knowledge at all or you've got a
Mhm.
lot of skills. I am absolutely positive that you will be able to find what it is that you need, because I'm a firm believer that, your guidance and your ancestors, they thankfully move us around all kinds of directions, particularly if we let them. But it'll make a big difference. So the name of the workshop is, what is really blocking your healing, and how can I finally release it? What's really blocking your healing, and how can I finally release it? So,
That's what everyone wants at the end of the day, right? No one
amen to
wants
that.
to suffer if we could not. Who chooses that?
Absolutely. When I say to people, literally, if you had the ability to be able to detect, because ultimately, let's stop waiting. I see clients truly from around the world who will come to me with disease and illness that they have tried everything else.
Yeah.
And again, it's not that I'm a miracle maker. It's just the work is good, and I know how to show up and hold that space for it. Um, but ideally, if you could catch that breast cancer before it ever came through the field and created itself in the body? Like, do you know that cells actually separate in an area where an incoming cancer is going to be? Your body makes way for it. Wouldn't you want to know how to stop it before it ever even had the chance to get started?
Yeah.
I know I would. I know for a fact you
Yeah.
would, Joy.
Definitely. And I mean, the added bonus is also every other area of our lives. If for someone that's like drawing the same patterns in relationships or the same lonely that they've been for 10 years and can't seem to
Absolutely.
find a group to fit into, or s- struggling in that level of abundance they're trying to reach. I mean, there's a seed thought for for us all.
It's interesting too because I'm so busy with clients at this point, but I've done a lot over the years of working with businesses, from small businesses that were, anywhere from, 500 people to thousands. Uh, you know, Businesses are everything. A business is an entity unto itself.
Yeah.
And so there are seed thoughts there that are creating it. So I have gone through so much and helped so many companies with employees who weren't happy, with management that wasn't happy, productivity was down. Their product that they needed to make what they were going to, all of that was interrupted, and it was one nightmare after another. You'd be surprised, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. Oh, look, everything's running really smooth again and everybody's happy. Hooray.
Pretty exciting.
Mm,
Well, tell us the name of this amazing free workshop, September 17, 18, and 19. Of
it
course, we will
is.
link everything in the show notes,
Yeah,
but so
you
people know what
bet.
they're looking for. What is it called, and what are you going to be teaching?
Yeah, perfect. So, what it's called is what's really blocking your healing, and how to finally get rid of it, how to finally clear it
Yeah.
out of the way.
Sounds like you're teaching what we've been talking about.
No, I am very much,
Uh,
so many times, you've done everything right.
yeah.
You study, you train, um, but we just keep coming down with interferences and chronic illness and pain and emotional stuff and traumas,
Yeah.
anxiety, depressions. It's like, how do we ever get past this stuff?
Hmm.
And we sit there and we say, what am I missing? You know. So what we're really, kind of connecting in here is, why do, not only in a physical realm, why is it that our traditional medicines keep missing the mark? And how do we get results in a system that in many ways is not really set up for us to have super great outcomes?
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the professionals aren't accurate. No, oh heavens, no. I think we all need to be working together, but there are
Yeah.
major things that are interrupting us. We're going to talk about that, and we're really going to get you to really see for yourself, like this time frame together. It's not a long time, but I'm here to tell you, sister, we can pack some stuff in a short period of time to really help you identify for yourself. Do you happen to have any of these seed thoughts that are hanging around? And you're going to be able to find out for yourself, do I have any of these major ones coming? So if you want to join me on the workshop, then what I'm going to say is, hey, you come with some things that you've got some questions about because you listened to this interview with Joy on her
So funny.
awesome podcast.
It's just-
Um, and uh, and you're going to find out, you'll be able to really what is that healing code? How do you really
Yeah.
get that? And how do you activate that power to really put it into full motion for you and then step fully? I am, I very much talk about this is just how spirit has uh, used me throughout my
Hmm.
careers. I'm very much a catalyst person. So by the time that somebody finally reaches me, people reach me at a time where they need a catalyst
Yeah.
because it is time to move. It
Yeah.
is time to move. It is time to go forward. And if you're ready for that,
I can't
Let's
tell
go.
you how many of our listeners and viewers and my community is telling me all the time that they're feeling stuck and they're just looking for something to get them moving. I definitely will be putting this workshop on my calendar. It is
Fantastic.
incredibly generous of you to be offering this for free. I am super grateful. And on behalf of everyone here, I will say that we are super grateful. Thank you for putting that on. I hope everyone will attend September 17th, 18th, and 19th. Of course, I will link it in the show notes. And
Can
thank
I
you for
can
being
I
here
add
with
one
us.
can I
Yeah,
add one more
please.
thing? So, this is I'm putting the workshop on for free, but this is a really challenging time in life
Yeah.
in general. And um every Sunday night
Oh,
at
yeah.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard, 4 Pacific every Sunday night. On my YouTube channel, I do a YouTube live and I do an hour healing free to absolutely anyone. It is just my way of, we are all in this together.
I'm
And
glad you
if
brought that up.
there's,
And you leave the replays up. So if someone can't
I
make that
leave the
time,
replays
they
up,
can find the
absolutely.
replay.
You can find the replays, and I encode every session that I do. So whether you listen to it the day after or 10 years after, you will still be able to receive a healing from this.
Yeah.
So you are, my YouTube channel is Kim Seer dot beg your pardon, Kim Seer dash medical dash intuitive.
I'm going to link it. So don't
Yeah,
even worry
that's
about
awesome.
whatever you're doing right now. Don't even get a pen. I'm going to link
Yeah.
it. You just look it
So
for the links.
so if even if you could just use a reset to get ready for the next
Yeah.
week, you just come and join us. So
Yeah. And who can't use free healing?
I
Exactly.
know, right? I'm
It's
just
clear
so
that you're
grateful,
so
Joy.
passionate about this work too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, it's clear that you really believe in what you do and you're so passionate about it. And I wish we had all the time for all the stories because you have an incredible bank of stories of healing that you have seen over 25 years. I think is quite shy of how long you've been doing this
Oh
because I
yeah,
know it's
yeah,
much
it's much
longer than
more.
that, but we're not trying to age anyone. So
That's right.
thank you.
That's right. We're not age changing anybody.
No ageist here. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today and
You bet.
for everything you do and for shining your light.
Thank you so very much. Thank everybody for listening.
Thanks. Well, what did you think about this deep dive conversation with medical intuitive Kim Seer? I always love getting to talk to Kim. We didn't mention this, but I see Kim quite frequently as a colleague as well. So we get to talk and hash things out. I do get to spend time with her here and there. And I just love her energy plus her wisdom. And I'm so grateful that she is sharing it all. And I had to ask her ahead of time if we could talk about seed thoughts. I didn't know since she teaches so profoundly on it, I didn't know if she'd talk about it with us, but we got really lucky. For those of you who hung around to hear what is going on with my inflammation, I think I'm having an allergic reaction to mango, guys. I'm so sad. For those of you that love mango and fruit as much as I do, I had a reaction to it about 25 years ago when I was pregnant with my daughter and I really don't touch it. I hadn't had it for many years because it was not a great reaction. And I had some mango sticky rice, which if you can have mango and you don't know what this is, head out to your favorite Thai place immediately because it is amazing. And the mangoes are so fresh right now. We're at the kind of almost tail end of August when we're recording this. And I woke up yesterday with my eyes swollen shut. I had to cancel some clients. Lots of love. You guys know who you are. You rescheduled for me. Thank you so much. And I maybe should be investigating about some seed thoughts around this allergic response and what that is about and what it goes down to. So for those of you that really like to excavate and take responsibility for the things in your life and want to improve your life, I really suggest you given this a thought, seed thoughts. I am going to explore this more, and I've been exploring this for a while, but I also encourage you to check out that website, kimseer.com. It's Seer. I will, of course, link it in the show notes. Her weekly community healing. That's right. I do one once a month. She's doing one once a week. She is incredible. Plus, this free workshop that she has coming up live September 17th, 18th, and 19th. I'm going to put it on my calendar because I really want to attend or get it on the replays. And And then she's got her master course that she is going to be talking more about. So hopefully you enjoyed learning about seed thoughts. Hopefully it's got you thinking about the symptoms or behaviors in your life and what those might tie down to. Even if it's something crazy like an allergic reaction, we can always be investigating. So thank you so much for being part of this community and being here with me. It really does mean the world to me. As always, big hugs, lots of love. Bye for now from inside Spirit Speakeasy.